Hi, I'm Rachel Goodwin and I'm a channel and healer who loves to teach and empower others. My work is about teaching you how to make a strong and powerful connection with your divinity, your divine spark, soul, higher self, whatever you want to call it, and then bringing that divine power right smack center into the middle of your life so that it mixes and integrates with your everyday life and your everyday self. To me, this is ascension as it creates an overall rising of vibration and is where my path and yours has always been leading.
Kuhia ho kaunaiia akapu kumoninei Pikoi kahimana ho ikahapili koholuaia Ea ke kaula lo pihana e kohopu kapaliliai Haina mai kapuana e kahaliko puokukui
Welcome to the Sacred You podcast. This is episode number 3, and today I have for you a wonderful interview with the inspirational Lea Chapin. So I'm not going to talk too much beforehand because there's just so much good stuff for you to hear on the interview. Lea is a spiritual counsellor. She's a psychotherapist and channel, and she works with the Holy Family. She's written some wonderful books. We talk about her book of inspirational messages from Mary Magdalene, and also her upcoming book, channeled from Sarah. That's a work in progress just now, but you can hear more about that. And also we'll be talking about sacred earthwork and some practical tips of how you can live a life of spirituality. But to start with today, I wanted to do a water blessing for us. Yesterday I was having a walk back from the town. The town I live is in Denmark. It's a town called Roskilde, and we are very fortunate to have very beautiful sacred springs here. There's a spring quite close to where I live. It's called Klosterkilen, but I call it a Saint Maria spring because it has wonderful divine feminine energies. And there's some little steps you go down into it. It's like a little stone enclosure. And there's 2 sides to it where the water comes up. And on one side, it's very Mary Magdalene, very Sophia energies. And on the other side, it's very Mother Mary, Shekinah energies. So it's really an incredible energy. And I have some of that water here today. And if you want to join me in this blessing, if you're at home and you want to just get a bowl and get some water, just stop the recording and go and do that now. But if you're out and about, don't worry. I'm going to send out the energy from this water blessing so that, wherever you are and however you're doing things, you can receive this energy. So I'm just going to start by asking Mary Magdalene to bless the water. So you can just, if you're doing the blessing as well, just put your hands above the water and ask Mary Magdalene to bless the water with us. Just take some nice, quiet, deep breaths while you do this. And just imagine the energy is coming from your hands and into the water, sent by Mary Magdalene. And on my water, I've got some beautiful dried rose petals floating. You know, when people give me roses, I always keep them and dry them out and then keep them for putting on sacred water, because it's such a lovely thing to do. And when I was at the springs yesterday, it's our local council that looks after these springs, and so, you know, they have a rota for how often they go round and clean them up and unblock them and stuff. So sometimes things can get a little bit behind. Or I noticed yesterday that there's quite a lot of blocked up. I think it's underneath a bridge. So because quite often if I go along and I notice these things, and I give them a bit of a clean out, but this one it's gone under a bridge, and I think something needs to get under there to like push out some of the debris. But because the water's building up, there's quite a lot of it's not pondweed exactly, it's sort of algae growing, so it's not the prettiest. I mean, the water, because it's coming out of a tap, so it's pure and it's beautiful and it's lovely, and that's what I've got here. But I was sitting and, you know, looking at the algae that was growing, and I thought, yeah, this meditation today is about clearing out the old stuff that's blocking things up, so this beautiful and pure water can flow. Because as many of us know, the divine feminine is still needing to get a clearer channel onto the earth just now. And so just, if you can, do this safely, just close your eyes for a moment and just imagine that this beautiful water energy that we've blessed, and I'm sending this out to all of you now, this beautiful water energy. Just imagine that it's coming along in greater and greater measure, and it's just gently but powerfully pushing out all of the debris. And if you like, you can imagine a stick or something that needs to clear any of that debris away, so that this beautiful divine feminine Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary energy, water, can flow unimpeded down through the channels, reaching all the places where it needs to go on the earth. And you can feel this water flowing through yourself, coming in through the top of your head, this beautiful divine feminine water energy. Imagine it coming in through the top of your head and washing out, going through all your channels, washing out any debris, down through your neck and arms and hands, down through your body, down through your knees and your feet and into the earth. Washing down through your aura, beautiful shower, showering through all of your bodies, physical body and all of your energy bodies, being cleansed and cleared by this loving and gentle and yet powerful divine feminine energy. And especially breathe it into your heart, clearing away anything there that is ready to be cleared right now. And then just imagine yourself energetically being sprinkled with beautiful rose petals. and all around your aura. You can put your hands on your heart if that's something you can do right now. And just take some extra breaths into your heart center, strengthening and filling up from that place. And then just letting go with this image. So we give thanks to those who have helped us today, Mary Magdalene. And I hope you enjoy this interview and all the things that we're mentioning. I'm going to put them in the links in the show notes underneath, so you'll be able to click on Lee's website. Also, I make essences from these different springs. I have about 20 of them so far in Roskilde. But I'll put a link beneath for that as well, in case you want to get one of those, and you can use it as like an aura spray. Put it in your bath. But thank you for being with us today. If you want to use the water, if you've blessed some water today, you can just have it standing in your room and it evaporates very slowly. Or you can put it in a bath, you can put it on your plants, or you can also, rub it on different chakras, and it gives a lovely energy that way as well. So that's it for today. Enjoy the interview. Lots of blessings. So, hello everybody. I'd like to welcome Lee to the Sacred You podcast. Hi, Lee.
Good morning or good evening. I'm in the US, so it's afternoon here, I guess. So, hello.
Well, this isn't going out live. This is going to be going out as a recording. So it could be good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Could be any time that people are listening to this. So thank you very much for joining us today. I'm really excited to be able to speak to you. I was so pleased when you said that you would come and have a chat, and I'm really interested to hear a little bit about how things have been in your life. So do you want to just start, Lee, by just saying a little bit about yourself and what you do, and we'll just start from there?
I am a master's level psychotherapist. I have a degree in counselor education, and the first part of my career I was a traditional mental health counselor, and then about 26 years ago I was gifted to be able to receive the words of spirit from one particular spirit guide named Grand. And over that 26-year course, I have become a versatile voice channel for spirit, for the ascended masters, the galactic realm, the angels, the archangels. And so I combine my traditional psychotherapy skills with my ability to hear spirit to help people understand their problems from a higher perspective. So it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey, a beautiful marriage of combining traditional therapy with my ability to hear spirit to help people. And people seem to really respond to this level of help that they receive from the ascended masters and the angelic beings. So I'm really, really honored to be able to do what I do.
Wow, it sounds really, really interesting. So you said 26 years, so that's quite a while now, isn't it?
It is. It's my channeling anniversary. The day spirit came to me was March 21st, 1993. I remember the exact moment because I was receiving a Reiki session, and I remember that day feeling like I was supposed to receive some kind of a message. And I just thought it was some kind of an awareness that was going to come to me through, just being relaxed in the Reiki session. And I began to channel my spirit guide named Gran. And to my delight, I was quite surprised, even though 7 years prior, I had had a psychic reading from a lady who told me that I had the abilities to be a channel, a voice channel. And she had channeled my guide Gran to me that day 7 years prior. But as life goes on, I sort of forgot about that and didn't think about Gran, didn't think about channeling. I was in my life, doing my thing. And that particular day, Gran showed up. So a veil apparently had been lifted. They must have been working on me for all those 7 years. And I was quite in shock.
Wow. So, but it was something you were open. You were open to the whole channeling thing, and that was okay with you.
I was, because I'd been studying metaphysics since mid-'80s. And so I was a really avid spiritual metaphysical seeker. And so this was right up my alley, even though I didn't think I had this ability. The lady had told me, but you know how you get readings, you go, yeah. And so I was just in shock. But I am really a very devoted person. And so from that day, I have been working with spirit diligently for the last 26 years. If not daily, I work with spirit almost, every other day. I do readings. I do readings for myself. I do classes. And so I've been devoted to this. This became my life over the 26 years. So it wasn't like, oh, this happened and then I just forgot about it again. It was a passing fancy. It actually became my career.
And what about when you were a kid? I mean, what was life like for you then? I mean, is this? I guess you didn't imagine that this is what you would be doing later on in your adult life.
Absolutely not. To my awareness, I was not psychic or intuitive. I remember my mom always said that I was kind and trusting. I remember those were the words that she used. But no, I wanted to get a degree in psychology. And so my focus when I was young was I was getting a master's degree. And so I got a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in counseling. So in my life, I'm going to be a counselor. But I had no idea I was going to become a spiritual counselor. So
yeah, because that's it. Because you are doing that work, aren't you? You're just doing it in another way. Or with extra layers, shall we say?
With extra help. Yeah. I do remember to share this. I was working on a psychiatric unit. This was in about 1987. And I remember thinking there's a better way of helping people, but I didn't know what it was. And that was before I started channeling. And I just had that vague sense. And then when I started channeling and doing the work, and then decided that I was going to bring the marriage of traditional therapy with spirit, I was like, oh, that's what I was feeling, so it's like you have this awareness or an understanding on some level, there's a better way of helping people, but I hadn't grown into myself yet, at that point in mid-'80s, 87, 88, whatever it was.
But you could feel it was there.
I did. It was just like, have you ever thought, well, there's something here and I can't put my finger on it. And yet when this all began to happen, and then I combined the marriage of my work or began to structure how I was going to work that worked for me and my personality and my skill set, like, bingo, this is what I was thinking about back that day in the psych unit when I was thinking there has to be a better way of helping people. And so for me, it really nurtures me, it excites me, and plus it's fascinating because I'm always learning and growing, and the information that comes through me through spirit, I'd have no way of accessing that as a traditional psychotherapist because I work a lot with helping people understand their past lives and how those patterns and imprints are still carried over into our current life that are affecting our challenges, our behaviors, our relationships, even our health. Just our higher spiritual life, our soul journey. So I'm able to access the Akashic records and be able to help people understand the bigger picture of their soul and why they're here. And as a therapist, I would have no way of ever doing
that. No, of course not. I've been reading one of your books recently, the Mary Magdalene. They're channelings, aren't they? The enlightenment.
The path to enlightenment.
Yes, that's channeled from Mary Magdalene, isn't it?
It is channeled from Mary Magdalene. Yes, thank you for doing that. Thank you for reading those. I have been working with the Holy Family since 1997, and then I lose track of time. I say 15 years, but I'm not sure. It is either 15 years or longer. Every Monday morning, I have a teleconference class where I channel the universal teachings of Mary Magdalene to a small group on a teleconference class.
Okay.
And so that book is part of a compilation of Mary Magdalene's universal teachings from those 15 years. And so I've recorded all my channelings. I have them all in transcripts. I have volumes and volumes of material that if you saw on my physical CDs, old cassettes, and written transcripts of everything that I've brought forth, you'd be like, oh my God, what is she going to do with all this? But so we put some of that into an ebook.
Okay, because that makes sense, because like I've been reading it like one page at a time, and then I read another page the next day, because there's a lot there, there's a lot in it, and it's like I need to sort of absorb and process each page. And also like the things that I'm reading, they're kind of things that I've kind of known out the corner of my eye, and then reading it just like grounds it in me, and I just go, because I read it and just go, oh yeah, I really get that, and then it's sort of in me properly. But you can sort of tell that there's just so much in it that it's probably happened over quite a long period of time. I did think that it sort of felt like something that had been a long process, sort of, yeah.
And the readings, people tell me there's layers to the information. So when you're reading it, there's layers to that information. So you can read it one time, you can go back to it again, and you can get a whole new perspective, or it can awaken something within you, and you can have an epiphany. So I have people say, oh, every time I read your books or read your material, then I see something different. I hear something different. I feel something different. Something awakens within me. So that I feel like there's layers of energy that's been downloaded through those transmissions.
Yeah, and I always think that with channelings, it's like there's the words, and then there's the energy, and it's the energy that really does, it holds the words together. But it's like there's a whole pattern or a matrix or something that exists as that channeling, and it's so much more profound than just the words, isn't it? And it's like, but I suppose the words hold it. They're like the key, and they're the way to get through to that matrix of energy. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I wanted to mention that to you.
Oh,
so
thank you.
It's so helpful. It's so helpful because it's not so many new age things, isn't it? People say, oh, you shouldn't say things in a negative way, but this is not an easy world to live in. I think it has lots and lots of challenges, so it really helps to read books like that one, because it smooths the path somewhat, I think.
Well, you're the first person who has shared this with me, because I put that book together last fall.
Okay.
With my spiritual son Jared. He actually does the transcriptions for me, does all the typing for me. So I channel it, takes a team, and he does the transcriptions, and then he helped me put it into an ebook. So thank you very much, because when I did it, it was like, okay, will people understand this? Will they understand these short messages? Will they, I wanted to be inspirational. I wanted to be thought-provoking. I want to be able to shift people in terms of their energy with the imprints, because I feel like all three books that I have, they're portals. They're portals to help awaken people.
Yes. And I think they are, Lou. Definitely, they are. So you said that you channel. Did you say you channel for yourself every day? Is that right?
Yes, I do indeed.
Okay. So what does that look like when you do that?
Well, every morning when I first wake up, I speak to Master Jesus, and he is one of my primary guides. And I set boundaries in terms of how I work with spirit, because they used to wake me up in the middle of the night, and I'd be like, no. I like to sleep. We can't do this. So I'm like, when I wake up, the first thing in the morning, this is my time that you can bring the transmission to me of what you want to share with me, for me personally, or if there's something I need to know universally. And so right when I wake up, there they are. And almost every day it is Joshua, and also my spiritual guide. Her name is Ophelia, who comes, and he always says, greetings, it is I, Christ, and Ophelia is here as well. And so I spend about 30 minutes in quiet time listening to their messages and helping them to download energy to me. I'm working a lot now with the 7 Sacred Flames with from the book called The Aurelia Louise Jones book from Mount Shasta, California. And I call in the flames to begin to invoke the energy of the resurrection flame to continue to keep my energy strong and my body healthy. And I call in the cosmic flame. I call in the flame of the violet flame. So I use that time just to like revitalize myself and re-energize myself. And it seems to be working because my energy seems to be so much better.
So when you're receiving the information from them, do you write it down, or you just let it like come into you?
For myself, I just let it come in because I'm actually still laying in bed. And that's my time to relax and just be present with them. And so I don't always remember what they say, but it's okay because I'm sure I'm receiving it, as I need to receive it.
Yeah. I was wondering because like first thing in the morning, like when I wake up, I don't think I can write, and I was thinking, oh, I wonder if she writes it down or just like lets it come in. But that really makes sense actually. So
I have so much material. Like I said, you should see the volumes of material. Something else to write. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. And too early in the morning as well, like before the first cup of tea or coffee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just like to listen, and it's comforting, and I don't try to put any mental thought into it. I mean, it's not to, what am I trying to say? I don't want it to be a mental process. I just want it to be able to experience and to feel, what they're transmitting to me.
Mm. Yeah. Because I do find that when I'm writing things down, it's becoming a mental process to a certain degree. Then there's a sort of a dual thing going on, and that's a little bit more tricky than just like talking and like speaking. Inspiration that's coming through is a little bit less mental than actually having to write things, because it's a mental process, isn't it, writing things down? But I think people
and it takes too long.
Yeah.
I can channel pretty fast, so writing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's quicker. But I think people find different ways easier, don't they, depending on how it works for them. Because I think some people find writing it down easier actually, than having to speak it. But I mean, it whatever works really, isn't it? So I mean, because I think as time goes on more and more, I think more people are realizing that they can access spiritual wisdom, doing these things like automatic writing or connecting to their spirit guides. And I mean, if you were going to give some tips to people on how to connect to their sort of spiritual or to spiritual wisdom, and say they were sort of fairly new into it, I mean, what would be something helpful?
I would ask people just to sit quietly and begin to listen to their heart. Just begin to listen to the stirrings of their soul and to their intuition, because in those moments of quiet moments, we receive those epiphanies, receive those awarenesses, we receive the wisdom. So we may receive it we may be driving down the street, like I did the other day, and something came to me. It's like, oh, okay. And so I'm out of my mental mind, but I'm still, I was driving, but there's still part of me that receive this information. So if we can begin to get out of our own way, not try so hard, and just begin to relax into our heart and begin to listen to our soul, into our inner knowingness. Because you had asked me to give one tip, and this I just wanted to share that right now, if you don't mind. Is that just trust in the divine process of life. There is a process of divine grace in all of our lives. And when we begin to fully understand and believe that our life is in divine order, that there is divine grace, and that we don't have to know the way, but the way knows us. So our innate wisdom, our higher self, our soul, whatever you want to call it, it is guiding us. And if we can get out of the way, out of our ego, and allow our soul to guide us and listen quietly, we'll know what we need to do, which will be able to help us to access our own intuitive abilities and awarenesses.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us feel like we have to do something somehow,
No,
or
not
if
really.
we're, or that perhaps we're doing the wrong thing, or
Mhm.
and that and yeah, I sort of hear you saying, that's us getting in our own way, really.
Yeah. Quiet the mind to the best of your ability and trust that you're going to receive what you need to receive. I've had so many experiences, I can't even share them with them in terms of which I'm sure you've had as well, and the listeners had as well, there, where it's like life shows up and you're like, oh my gosh, this has happened to me, or I met this person, or this thing has been brought forth to me, or this experience or this awareness. And it's like, I wasn't trying for that. And yet that's what I needed. That's what came into my life. So I think a lot of people really focus on doing. It's more about being and allowing and just quieting the mind. That's really my focus now, is try to get out of my mental mind, because I have always been pretty mental and emotional. And yet now it's like I'm just trying to detach and allow myself just to receive. Surrender, trust, allow, and receive. STAR is the acronym. Surrender, trust, allow, and receive.
Oh, I really like that. STAR: surrender, trust, allow, and receive. That's good.
Yeah. Because remember, you don't have to know the way knows you. So your soul, your inner guidance knows what you need.
Oh, thank you for that. That's great.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And I like the what is it called? An acronym. It makes it a lot easier to remember these things as well.
Yes, STAR. And we're beautiful stars. We're beautiful light. So we're beautiful stars. Surrender, trust, allow, and receive. And we don't have to worry so much about life, because we worry about, our past, present, and future. We worry about what ifs. We worry about, I'm not doing enough. Like, just breathe, relax, and the journey will unfold. We tend to want to kind of control everything, I want to say. And in reality, I'd say we're probably not in as much as control as we think we are.
We'd like to pretend that we are, yeah.
Yeah, like, okay. So, life is good. Just relax into it, Trust in the divine grace is how I see it. I that's how I follow my life. I know that my life is in divine order. It doesn't mean that I still don't worry about things, or I still don't get into my head, but in the reality of, I know that all is in divine order and all is in divine grace. And I go back to that center point.
Yeah. Trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And returning to balance.
Yes, that's something I heard you mention recently, and I think you were talking about Sarah in connection with it. Is that right?
I was just going to say that. You're reading my mind. Sarah. So yes, I was just going to say that. Yes, Sarah. Yes, Sarah has been knocking on my door probably for about 1.5 years, and I have channeled 22 transmissions of Sarah for a third book, which I think the working title is, I might change, The Missing Holy Grail. So Sarah is the missing Holy Grail. She's that which people have been seeking, which is sacred balance. And so this book will be brought forth in divine timing. I stopped working with it last April, and I have not touched it since. I finished the last 22nd transmission. I remember in April last year, put it aside and haven't looked at it since. I assume that I need to do more inner work, or there is not divine timing yet. And so there's a part of me that it's like, okay, is this going to get done? But that's how my last book, Divine Union, The Love Story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, worked. I worked on it probably for 3 or 4 years. And then all of a sudden, after I went to Mount Shasta, California, and I was at the etheric energy temple in Mount Shasta, where they performed the marriage ceremonies of divine union. After I was there doing an activation there at Mount Shasta, I was able to complete the divine union book. So I assume that there will be another portal opening so I can complete Sarah's book of Sacred Union, and helping people understand that that which they are searching for is the marriage of the divine mother, divine father energy within them, returning back into ascension, into our wholeness and unity, which is what Sarah holds. So you more than I know about that, since you are a oracle for Sarah.
Well, yes. I mean, I feel like, I work very much with Sarah's energy and bringing through different aspects of her energy. And I channel messages from her and things like that. But I never feel like I'm a great expert on her or anything sort of. But I really help bring that energy through. And, that's definitely sort of one of my jobs on the earth. And it's really interesting what you said about Mount Shasta and that sort of being an initiation of energy that helps bring the work through, because I really experience a lot of earth energies in the landscape, and I've been working with earth energies for quite a few years now, and from this year 2019 I've started working really intensely. I've worked with it for quite a few years before, but Sarah has her own vibration of violet flame, and it's just really coming in now to help us transform things into fifth dimensional energy. And I did a workshop with it recently, and when I was working with it, I realized that there's sort of a violet flame, I call it a temple, but it's like a landscape temple in Glastonbury. And I was like, oh wow. And then I started talking to other people, and all these synchronicities started happening. And I realized she wants us to kind of plant these seeds around different parts of the world, these violet flame landscape temples. And I planted a seed for one in here in the town where I lived yesterday. I did it yesterday in Roskilde, where I live. And when I did it, a lot of powerful stuff happened with me yesterday. I cleared another big thing, and today as a family we cleared another big thing. And it's like, these things, there's a lot of emotions, and it takes quite a lot of energy, but it's just amazing how it all works together like that. And I love it that there's us, and there's these words, and there's that energy, and then there's the earth, and it's all, we're all part of the, it's all happening. There's all this oneness and togetherness, and I love it. I really love it, because it's not just a mental exercise then, is it? It's like, it's a real thing, and it's different parts of the earth, and it becomes this wonderful kind of like mystical mystery landscape adventure.
That's right. It's like I call it as a treasure hunt sometimes when we're doing the work, that the dots are put together. You're guided to go somewhere or do something, and it's like then big things begin to make sense, but then you don't really fully understand all what's happening, but you do feel it, and something magical has taken place, just like that day on Divine Union, which opened
exactly. And that's it, because like, I don't necessarily know what's going on. I don't have this huge amount of information, but I can feel all these things are happening, and maybe I'll get like one little nugget, little treasure thing out of it. But that sort of leads me nicely onto the next thing that I wanted to ask you, Lea, and that was about, I saw on YouTube you've got videos for doing like sacred journeys. Is that something you go and do every year, or?
I have been working with, like you, the earth energies probably now for starting in 2005. So 14 years, 15 years. I've gone to Hawaii. I've gone to the Bahamas. I started working with the Lemurian energy in Hawaii. Then I started working with the Atlantean energy in the Bahamas. Then I went to Shasta and worked with the Lemurian energy. And so, like you, I do these earth activations and opening these portals, and I take groups there, small groups. It's all channeled information. It's all experiential. It's about feeling the energy and awakening so that we can move forward into a higher frequency. Like you, I don't fully always understand what's happening, but it's all documented. I have it written down. I have it transcribed. And then last year, my spiritual son, who lives in Kuwait, loves to travel. And so he took me to Ireland last year. And so Mary Magdalene had told me, I don't know, a month or two prior to that, I needed to start doing videos. I'm not very computer savvy or technology savvy. I just don't know how to do all these things. I go, okay, fine. How's that going to happen? So then when Jared took me to Ireland, we started filming these videos at the sacred sites at Glendalough, and we could really feel the energy there in the land. And then in September, we went to Egypt, Jordan, Cyprus, and I filmed in the Pyramid of Giza, bringing the energy from Isis, the Holy of the Holies, and Jeshua, the energy through the Great Pyramid of Giza, and activating and bringing these new frequencies in through the ley lines into the earth. And people are telling me that they actually feel the energy when they watch these videos and they're activated by them. So then we went to India in December, and I got to go to India to an Ayurvedic treatment center, and then we went on to Turkey. And so I did more filming. So there will be more filming. But to make a long story short, about a year ago, as Mary Magdalene said, oh, you need to do videos. I go, oh, how am I going to do that? And now if you see my YouTube channel, I have, several videos.
Yeah, there's quite a few on there. But the technology is amazing now, isn't it? That you can just go live and be making a video, and it can be straight away people are seeing it. I mean, 20 years ago it would have been unthinkable, and now you just push a button
and they watch. So like I said, I've been doing this work for 26 years, and quietly getting the messages out to small groups. And then Jesus and Mary Magdalene, they wanted me to get the work out, and they said it would go through the grassroots. And so I also, every Monday morning as I do my Mary Magdalene teachings, I put it out on Facebook. I do the transcription. I have that transcribed, and then I send it out on Facebook. And then that's been going viral, and people have been finding me all over the world. I think that's how your friend found me. I think Astrid, who connected me to you. And then now I have the YouTube channel, and so people are finding me there. So, this is another avenue for me. So I just laugh, because I'm just, I'm sitting in my house, doing my class every week for years and years and years. And, now I'm able to connect with you in Denmark,
Yeah, I know. It is really amazing. And it was Louise that told me about you. And I'm really grateful for the people I know in my life that tell me things, because I don't have so much time to go on Facebook and the internet and to look for these different things. Right. And it's wonderful because people just write to me and say, oh, by the way, have you seen this person you might be interested in? And then I'm like, there's another person. It's like, wow, that's great. Because when I first started channeling Sarah, it was after I'd been to a trip to Hawaii. Actually, it was a year later after I'd been to the Big Island, and I connected with Sarah, and it was all a bit of it was a bit of a strange shock for me, because she wasn't someone that I believed in particularly or was interested in, or I was a real goddess person. I really loved the divine feminine and angels and well, these kinds of things, but she was just I just, well, who are you? I had worked with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, but what I was going to say was I looked around everywhere to sort of try and find her out there, on the internet and books, and I could find very, very, very little.
Right.
And there's more stuff around. And when I looked at your website and saw your opening sort of chapters for the Sarah book that you've been channeling, I was so excitedly. I was like, yay! Yeah.
Oh, good.
And it was lovely to read, because I was like reading these things and I was going, yeah, I got that. Yeah, I felt that. And it's like I don't feel so lonely with it.
Thank you, because I don't know anybody else who works with Sarah either. And I think you told me that, she will be knocking on my door again soon. So, it's like she's sort of been away for a year somewhere. Like, okay, I think she's been waiting for me to catch up or something.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. But I mean, but that's it. We have to go through the processes that we need to go through, and also the earth needs to go through the processes that she needs to go through, because it's all happening together, and there's so much happening, isn't there? So your sacred journeys that you go on, do you have like a focus when you go on these journeys, or do you just go and just let what needs to come through come through?
I just let what needs to come through. I never try to control anything. No. So even when I'm doing channelings for people or in my own work, I don't try to control anything. So I might have an idea or a thought of, okay, this is what might be happening. But it's always greater than what I experienced. So when we went to Egypt and we were in the Great Pyramid, if you see that video on my YouTube back in October, of this year, of 2018, it was really, really powerful. I mean, when I was in there and I heard my voice and the echoing of the vibration just emitted back into my body, I was just like, oh my God. It was just like, I could feel all this powerful energy when I was channeling. My voice had changed. It was like all this transformation was going on. All this energy was like reverting back into my body. It was like all the energy that I was calling forth was just going into my physical body. I could feel it. And I was like in somewhat of a trance because we had just had a small group there, and they were all really mesmerized by the whole experience. And like I said, we don't fully understand exactly what happened, but we felt the energy and we knew something powerful had happened. And yet when I got done, this was the last thing I was planned to do, because I'd gone to Kuwait, where Jared lives, and then we went on to Jordan, to the Dead Sea, and was fortunate enough to soak in the Dead Sea and be there in that energy. And then we moved on to Cyprus, where I have some clients, and then I taught a class there and was lucky to go there. And then we went on to Egypt, and that was the finale. And then I just knew, whatever this culmination of the work that I did traveling in this region, that once I got done in the Great Pyramid, it was like a sense of completion. I was like so happy. I was like, do I understand fully what happened? No, but I know that I completed what I was called to do, and I was satisfied and completely, filled with love.
That sounds great. Oh, I'll be looking for that video and having a little watch of that. And I mean, it's always really nice to read information if people have it. But on the other hand, I also, like that things can be a mystery. And in one way, it's sort of the point that certain things are a bit of a mystery, because you can't explain and quantify absolutely everything. But no, you can feel it in your heart. It's like, all right, the brain might not have like A, B, C, D, and then that makes it. But your soul knows it, and it's like,
that's right.
You have a knowing inside yourself. And a lot of people come to Sarah that way. They've seen something or they've heard something, and something in them just suddenly recognizes it, and they don't know why, and so that, people write to me and say, who is she, and what is it all about? And but yeah, I kind of like things being a bit of a mystery as well.
Well, it's so exciting. Like I said, it's like a treasure hunt. But what these sacred journeys are for, really the way we designed them, was back last June when Anthony Bourdain died. I don't know if you know him. He was on CNN, and he traveled the world, and he was a chef or a cook, and he would go to different countries, and he would meet with the people. And then he died. It really troubled me. And so that's when Jared loves to travel. So he said, oh, let's become the new Anthony Bourdain. Let's go to these sacred sites and be able to share with people these different sites remotely, like Anthony Bourdain's show, Parts Unknown. And so the goal was, which Spirit had told me, was that people would be able to be, if they physically couldn't go there or they couldn't, financially afford there, it was not feasible for them to go to Egypt or Turkey or Cyprus or India, that people would actually be able to be activated and downloaded with the energy remotely. So that's what these videos are about. So they're accessible to anyone that's sitting in their own home. And like you said, they're feeling the energy, they're being activated with the energy. And I've had that response from several people that they're feeling it, they're feeling the power of it. So that was the purpose of doing it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful. And you mentioned the chef, Anthony, I can't remember, what was his name?
Bourdain.
Yeah, because we were watching, me and my husband Thomas, we were watching that on Danish television. They were showing it on Danish television. Mm-hmm. And I'd never seen him before, and I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. Who's this guy? And I looked him up on the internet, mm-hmm. and I saw that he'd actually he died, and he committed suicide, sadly, and it was such a shock because he's so vibrant on the screen.
He is. That really saddened me, and it's actually his soul came to me. Oh. And his spirit came to me and, told me that he was in an act of desperation, and that he, of course, wished he hadn't done that. But there was some personal issues, and he was in regret.
Yeah. And I was looking at what I read about him, I could see he hadn't had an easy life. And, I used to be a psychiatric nurse. So for quite a few years, I worked with people who were, all sorts of different type of mental health issues, but, were suicidal. And what I really saw working on the psychiatric wards was just people. It was just people. And, 1 in 3 people suffer from mental health issues, mm-hmm. probably more, and it's something that's really not, it's more acknowledged openly now than it was 20 years ago, but there's still a long way towards sort of healing these things. But I just really thought, I'm just going back to your book again, like the enlightenment, the Mary Magdalene speak. I think her words, I think they're really good for your mental health.
Thank you.
That should have a mental health. It's good for your mental health to read this.
Thank
because
you.
Of course, spiritual people, we all suffer from mental health issues the same as everybody else, and perhaps even more, because it's an extra sensitivity there with a lot of us that makes it a little hard to. I really liked the thing about don't take on the whole world's burdens. I was reading that. Mary Magdalene was saying that, and I was thinking, I was telling my husband about that when I got up. I was like, I'm going to remember just my world, just the world I live in. It's like, because I do tend to get really caught up in, there's just too many things out there to get upset about, isn't there? And then you don't get the things done in your day that you could have done that would have made the world maybe a bit of a better place, because it's like you get too caught up in all the disasters and everything. So
well, there's a way that I try to live is try not to be attached. It doesn't mean that I don't care, but I try not to be attached. So I'm learning the art of non-attachment, in the sense of I know what's happening, and I still hold the space of love and compassion, and yet it doesn't serve me and my work that I'm doing as a light worker to become overly attached to what's happening. So I'm just holding the light, holding the love, and bringing that energy of compassion, to the world and to the people. Because we're here to help lift the vibration, like the 100 Monkey Syndrome. So, other people are moving into the vibration of joy, they're moving into the vibration of peace, because all of these lower frequencies that are on the earth, we can become entrapped in them. Causing us the disillusion, of who we are and what life is about. So even as I'm here in Illinois, being with my dad, and he's 89, and I know that, more than likely it appears, my dad's probably not going to be around much longer. And then I'm still trying to hold the space of love for him and try not to get caught up in that emotion of the third dimension of my own emotions and what's happening, and trying to hold that space of love in a higher frequency. So really, if we can do that, in the world, that's what we're here to do. So that's really what my work is about, empowering people, and Mary's messages and Joshua's messages, and I'm sure Sarah's messages as well in this new book that I'll bring out. It's about being in the balance and holding that space so that we can help all of our brothers and sisters, all of the kingdoms, to move forward into ascension.
I know. A lot of Sarah's work for me has been her helping me ground and to be here and to be present here on the earth, but at the same time, like bringing that divinity in. So like I'm not trying to escape the difficult emotion or facing the but at the same time you bring something else in that then sort of transforms that situation, and holding that kind of like divine fullness. It's a practice.
It is a practice. Yes. It is. Yes. I'm not saying I've mastered it, but
exactly.
I try to stay back to center. Okay, this is what I'm here. This is what I'm, try to stay in that art of non-attachment to the best of my ability.
Yeah. And I always say that to people. I say that's why it's called a spiritual practice, because it doesn't mean you have to be able to do it. It means that you keep practicing it, and that's really okay, and that's good enough. That's the whole point. It's like, oh, phew, thank God for that.
That's right. Just breathe. It's all good. It'll be all okay. Remember, you don't have to know the way. The way knows you.
So, thank you very much for joining us today. Before we finish, I just want to ask you, is there anything I haven't asked you about that you want to tell about, or is there any last words you want to say?
Well, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. And again, I'm really grateful to know you. Personally, this is so exciting for me to be able to connect with you in Denmark. And, as a fellow Sarah, part of the sisterhood of Sarah, I'm just really honored and blessed. And I'm humbled, by our connection today. And so I'm just in deep gratitude. So I think that's really all I want to say. I'm just in deep gratitude to you. So thank you for allowing me this opportunity.
Oh, you're really welcome, Lee. And it's been wonderful for me, because I really enjoy meeting people like this and hearing a bit about their stories and hearing the things they have to share. And I find it really, really uplifting, and it makes me feel I can just sense that kind of worldwide web and circle of like roses and light, and it's really enlightening, and I just love that energy. And I'm sure when people listen to these podcasts, and I do get feedback, people saying they really can feel so much peace coming from it, and to me it's like, oh yeah, and then people can connect to that, and that's just such a gift for me, because it just it makes me rise above.
That's right. So, we need each other.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And the only thing I wanted to share is just, if they want to see my videos, they can go to my website, which is leachapin.com. It's LEACHAPIN.com. And then if you wish to subscribe to my YouTube channel and see all the videos and receive those downloads from those activations from all the sacred journeys, you can go to my YouTube channel and just channel Lea Chapin YouTube. Just there I am, and you can see all of the transmissions, and my weekly Monday Mary Magdalene messages are on there every week as well. So
is that on YouTube?
Yeah. So those are uplifted and downloaded on my YouTube, as well as, all the sacred site journeys that I've done in Ireland and Egypt. So every week you'll get a message that will be current and relevant to the times. So they'll come in and talk about what is relevant. They talked about going into actually the inner earth into the sacred inner earth of Agartha a couple of weeks ago, and I got more hits on that, and I have no idea why. And yet, they also talked about the recent fire in France at the cathedral, and so Spirit will come in and explain the higher spiritual perspective of the current events. So that's what happens every Monday. I have no idea what they're going to say. I just show up and and I bring it forth. So Thank you again. I appreciate it. You are beautiful, beautiful light. I'm so happy that we have connected, and thank you, my fellow Sarah sisters. So.
Thank you. And I will put those links in for people as well in the show notes underneath the podcast, so they'll be able to just click and go to your YouTube channel and your website. So they'll be able to find that nice and easy. But thank you, Lee. Thank you for joining us today. And
thank you.
I look forward to speaking to you again at some point when that book's finished.
Well, we will, and I'm going to take some of your classes. So yeah, I want to stay connected to you. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone who's been listening to us today. Goodbye, and bless you.
Auheia valeana oe e kahaliko puakukui. Puhia o kaunaia a kahapu ke momori nei. Piko I kahimanao I kahapili ko haloaia. Hea ke kaula lo piana e kopu kapalili ai. Haina mai kapuana e kahaliko puakukui. Auheia valeana oe e kahaliko puakukui. Kuhia o kaunaia a kahapu kumoni nei. Piko I kahimanao I kahapili koholuaia. Hea ke kaula lo piana e kopu kapalili ai. Haina mai kapuana e kahaliko puakukui. Auheia valeana oe e kahaliko puakukui. Kuhia o kaunaia a kahapu ke momori nei. Piko I kahimanao I kahapili ko haloaia. Hea ke kaula lo piana he kopu kapalili ai. Haina mai kapuana e kahaliko puakukui. He noa no na ka oi